Bold statements from President Trump on the Putin Ukraine situation. So, President Trump has asked out loud and in public if Vladimir Putin has lost his mind. Be right back. Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. In this video, we are going to be talking about the Ukraine-Russia situation. There were peace talks that were at hand. Putin had agreed to sit down and talk. Zelensky finally agreed to come to the table and see if we could get some conciliatory conversation going. We had the president of Turkey who was going to step in and help out with this. And lo and behold, no ceasefire. We have had drama after drama there, including two definite, well, I don't know if both of them are considered fascination attempts on Putin, but there's two attempts now. One was in the helicopter with drones, and the other one they're talking about today. So we're going to see, is this Ukraine-Russia situation escalating or easing? It looked like it was going to be easing. Maybe not so much. So before I bring up the cards, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who may be interested in a psychic and tarot viewpoint of this powder keg for World War III. I'm bringing up the card view now, guys. I hope you're having a great day. If you haven't already, take a look at my 2 for Tuesday. We are talking about the president of Macron and his lovely bride and their situation that came up on film. That was 2 videos yesterday on Tuesday, but today is World Politics Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How many W's can I say in one sentence? Let's see. Is Trump's patience wearing thin with Putin? We already know it's worn thin with Zelensky. We're going to be using the Owl Tarot today. It reads beautifully and it's nice and bold on this camera. So President Trump recently criticized Putin as, quote, absolutely crazy and warned that Russia's actions could lead to its downfall. Despite a phone call between Trump and Putin agreeing to initiate ceasefire talks, Russia launched its largest drone and missile assault on Ukraine, resulting in significant casualties. The video footage from this is terrible. So let's see. Is Trump losing patience with Putin? Splitting that deck. 10 of Wands. He's had enough. Trump has had enough. And we have the Moon in reverse. 2 of Pentacles down on the bottom. The Hermit there. Hermit's always nice to have. 5 of Cups up top. And 2 of Cups in the future, which is a good sign. So with this 10 of Wands in the center, we definitely have Trump. Enough is enough. He is sick of the inflamed emotions about this. He already was talking Zelensky down from being just heels in, dug in really hard, trying to find success in this war for the Ukrainian people. Trump has already talked him down. You can't win. You're not going to be able to win without support, and nobody else wants to support you right now. So he already did that. Now he's got to talk Putin down from Putin advancing, and trying to, not literally advancing the line, but trying to dig himself in a lot more in Ukraine with that largest drone and missile assault that we just saw. So up top, we have grave disappointment. This is serious, serious disappointment. And here, what's crossing this inflamed emotions is we're going to put everything out on the table. So now, if there's anything that Trump hasn't talked about in public about these two parties, he's bringing it to the table now. So good luck, Chuck, both of you, because we're going to hear all of the backroom conversation now. So over here in the suitcase position, Trump needs to be the hermit, What is the Hermit? The Hermit has taken himself out into isolation with all the information that he has about the situation. He is going to coalesce and consider all of the things in that moment. And this is where we get the Hermit. He's got to keep this energy about him. Over here, Two of Cups. This is what our future goal is. This is what we're looking for. Getting two parties together to be kind. Will that happen? Let's bam. There we go. Page of Cups. Yes, we're going to have a discussion there. I do think that the representative from Turkey, the Turkish president, I think he is going to play a large role in this. What I would like to do before we move on any further is I do want to give Trump a medicine card. I'm going to shuffle these and we're going to get a medicine card for him. All this week, we are having animal decks on the table. So let me know if you would like to see a different animal deck than the one I'm showing. These are the medicine cards. These are super old, but you can still buy them. I have a link in the description of this video if you'd like to. And we have Armadillo energy for Trump. What does Armadillo say about medicine? So Armadillo wears its armor on its back. Armadillo is protecting himself. He is protecting his own. Now, when armadillos do curl up, they look very similar to a medicine wheel. There is reference to that in this book. The lesson is in setting up what you are willing to experience. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. And Trump has already spelled out the boundaries. He does not want to have any American troops there. He doesn't want to have any more American money going into the Ukraine fighting machine. And he does not want the other superpowers in the world to be doing this. So if Armadillo has shown up in a spread, or if it's an energy that is being a medicine that has been handed over to Trump, it is about choosing this time to define our space. He may actually say, I'm going to step back from this whole equation and let you guys work it out. Europe is your problem. Make a mess out of your room. I'm not going to have a hard time with it. So there's a bit more about being a yes person in the description of this particular card. When we are a yes person, we make ourselves vulnerable. So I think both sides of the war here are really trying to get a yes out of Trump. Sorry about that. I think my mic went out for a minute. Let's look at the shift of Trump's rhetoric from his previous eye-to-eye view of Vladimir Putin to now saying he's a bit crazy. 9 of Cups. He really thought this was someone he could communicate with, work with, and sort out the issues. King of Cups, he is not happy right now. Promises were not kept. 3 of Cups, he is looking for those countries and individuals that are going to launch into the future with him happily. This is a future. You know, I think there's a lot of discussion about technology and advancement behind the scenes. I think we may hear about that some more. I think we may be talking about working together, Ukraine, Russia, United States, the things that could be. Let's see. Page of Pentacles. If you two bozos can't get your act together and can't meet at a table and talk peace and knock it off, because I do feel like there's a knock it off kind of energy here. If they can't do that, we have nothing. We're not going to be able to move forward. And then we wind up not being able to produce anything while we're squabbling over here in Europe. China is going into manufacturing of all kinds of interesting stuff, and we have no future if we don't get on top of that. Oh, star in reverse, world. And then Ace of Swords. We get to experience a future where someone else is running the show. This is the change of pace for Trump. He is trying to explain to Putin that there are advancements that we can all do together. And if you don't get out of your own way, you're not going to be able to do it. And we're going to be run over by another country. So world domination is going to be gone. We are not going to have world domination anymore. So let's take a look. Is Putin, is he actually undermining these peace talks with the continued aggression? I think the answer is yes. Russia conducted a massive aerial attack on Ukrainian cities, including Kiev, despite these ongoing peace discussions. The Ukrainian President President Zelensky accused Putin of playing games with these U.S.-led peace talks amid the escalating drone attack. So, are Putin's actions is his spoken word genuine, or is it a strategic delay? He's hiding stuff, guys. 7 of Swords. There it is. 6 of Pentacles. I am not the Emperor. I am not giving any quarter here with the 6 of Pentacles. This is in the suitcase position. We are back to Putin saying, I am not going to give any quarter. I will not do it. Here, he wants to see the end of this, but he wants all the spoils. He feels that any negotiation at this point would be to the detriment of Russia, that Russia would have to give up too much. So he is back to KGB kind of sly maneuvers here. And this, he is going to say, is for the good of the people, the good of the Russian people that are along with him. So is it a delay tactic? Not necessarily. He is delaying the peace talks because he wants what he wants. He is not going to be conciliatory at all in this situation. And he's going to determine that, or he's going to purport that the people are in favor of that. Ace of Pentacles, he doesn't want to lose any land. 5 of Cups, sorry for the people, and 2 of Swords. Ultimately, this is going to wind up in cleaving those spoils of war in half. So no restoration of the Russian Empire for Vladimir Putin. So the intensified military operations during peace negotiations. What was he thinking? What was he thinking? Did he think we wouldn't notice? Like, kind of hard not to notice that. Knight of Wands, 5 of Swords. And that's interesting. Knight of Wands, 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords is continued fighting. Emotions are out of control. Passions are out of control. Putin is trying to get to he's trying to get to a point, a logistical point that is favorable to him and the people that are there. And I don't know, I haven't looked at the map. I don't know where all of these drone attacks took place, but he is trying to secure an area that is outside of Russian control at this point, that is favorable to having Russian control. And that, I think, is through much secret communication. Very interesting. Secret communications, individuals going back and forth. There's kind of like an information pipeline that is actually handwritten. It's going back and forth that way. So I do think that there is an area that is of keen interest to Putin and Russia and the people that are there. And I've said this before, that particular area is a blended area. It does have people that identify as Russians, people that identify as Ukrainians. It is a blended area. So people can go one way or the other. When I was in college, I had a history teacher, European history teacher. His name was Dr. Phil Donahue. He's one of my favorite teachers ever. He's an amazing guy. And he told us the story about his grandmother who had grown up in the Rhine. And when she wanted to tell her grandchildren how much she loved them, she spoke French. And when she wanted to discipline them or give them directives, she spoke in German because they were more reflective of what her intention was. This area in Russia and Ukraine has very similar kind of vibe to it because there are different cultures that are similar but different. In terms, in times of peace, still similar but distinct and different. So there's an area that he's trying to get to, and he does not want to discuss peace until that particular area is obtained. Let's give Pooty one of these animal cards. Let's see what we get. So I'm saying it right now. I do think that he is trying to obtain another area that is not really on the table right now. What did he get? He got an owl, but he got an owl in reverse. I'm actually going to read this in reverse for you guys. I haven't been reading them in reverse, but I will read this one in reverse. So owl medicine is associated with clairvoyance, intelligence, hyperintelligence. Think Athena, the goddess of wisdom, the Greek goddess of wisdom. Her companion was an owl. If you saw the Clash of the Titans, Bubo was her little metal friend that they sent down to Perseus. Not that that was accurate. That whole story wasn't really accurate, but she did have an owl, and she would light up Athena's blind side and enabled her to speak the whole truth versus half of truth. Now, when we get owl upside down, you have been deceived either by yourself or by another. Perhaps witchcraft or black magic. Interesting. When we're talking about witchcraft, black magic, anything like that, being possessed of something, it can also be possessed of our goals and destinations. So we've got kind of a possession energy right here. And I do think that's it. I think really trying to get to that goal is something that Vladimir Putin is just a bit too consumed with at the moment. So negative owl energy there. Not great stuff for him. Not great stuff for him. How is Zelensky responding to all of this escalating conflict? So Zelensky obviously has called for stronger international sanctions against Russia, and he's expressed disappointment over his perception of U.S. inaction. We all know that President Trump does not want to filter any more money into that country and into that conflict. In order to do so, he would have to really position himself as a foe to Russia, and that would not be good for any peace talks. Now, the Ukrainian forces continue to defend against these Russian offenses, and this is particularly intense in the northeastern region. So how is Zelensky responding to this? Eight of Swords. He's a little bit pinned down right now. What else do we have? The Lovers in reverse. He is very, very disappointed about the support that he has received at this point. I think this is particularly toward the United States. We see this Lovers in reverse. Remember, for me, lovers are typically contracts, commitments, covenants, those kinds of things, formalized relationships. So I think he is very disappointed and stuck because of the lack of support from the United States, because he's not getting any financial support. Once upon a time, we had this energy of being able to convince people, being a great orator, being a great leader in terms of PR and getting that information out there. That is in the past. Zelensky is going to have to bring this back up to the surface so that he can appeal to people that are in the mix here. Also, this Empress energy, He has to propose the rebuilding. I need your support for the rebuilding, not for the destruction of another country. So if he uses this tactic, and I think that he's going to lean more towards this, I think he'll have more success. Under the surface, though, he still wants to fight, fight, fight. Both sides want to fight, fight, fight in this, guys. It is really quite intense. In the end, I don't think that Putin has, or that Zelensky has as much persuasive power as he has had in the past. Even with this rebuilding energy, I hope that he latches onto this. I hope he grabs onto it with both hands and really tries to utilize it, because his diplomatic tactics and language really needs to be more in the rebuilding and not in the toppling of his foe, which I think is more so where he has been speaking to this point. I don't think that his requests for funding, his requests for more support, whether it's military money, monetary support, I don't think he's really focused on the rebuilding of relationships, rebuilding of communities and cultures and countries. So I think if he focuses more on the rebuilding and not on who gets what and how we're going to do it, like focus on, like, if you give me this, I want to be able to rebuild this. What can we do to do that? I think that that is a much better tactic for him. But still, I don't think he's going to be a leader after all of this. I think we're going to see the back of Zelensky when this conflict is over. I think once they have elections, I don't think that he'll be back in power unless something funky goes on. I think people are going to want a different, fresh breath of air. And I do think that there is a woman that is poised to go in and take Ukraine. It's going to be a tough sell, and we got some armadillo energy. Now, we just saw that with President Trump. So I think that that is an interesting doubleheader here, getting the armadillo for both of them. That gives me hope that they are both on the same page, that they are both going to say, I need to set some boundaries here. I need to understand how far we can go. Maybe Zelensky has actually gotten it. Maybe he has really accepted the fact that we can't go on and on and on. We can't have a 20-year war. It's not going to make any sense. No one's going to support us. Nobody wants to deal with it. And the country will be in ruin. The breadbasket of Europe will be an absolute disaster. So let's see how successful the U.S. will be mediating at this point. How successful. Trump's hinted at imposing new sanctions on Russia, but he really hasn't come up with anything concrete. We did help out exchanging the prisoners, but how successful is mediation with the United States going to be? Hangman, Queen of Wands, Knight of Pentacles. Oh, is that a fact? I think President Trump is going to rub some money on it. I do think that he's going to say, look, Russia, if you do this, if you put down your arms, if you do blah, 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 let's talk about what kind of money you're going to get from the United States. And there we go. 3 of Pentacles. It's there. And the Lovers underneath. Oh, my goodness. So I do think that with the right amounts, I think that Trump thinks there will be a conclusion to this. At the end of the day, everybody wants land, money, power. So if he can solve one of those issues, if he can rub some money on it and say, if you guys knock it off, I'll give you X, Y, and Z. I'll give you this amount to rebuild the country. I think we're going to get a much better response. Money walks, guys. Money walks. So there we go. There we go. Interesting. So is the conflict going to continue to escalate and reach beyond Ukraine's borders? Seven of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, Devil in reverse, Knight of Swords, Four of Cups. Yeah, I think we'll Six of Wands. I think we may see some spilling over borders. Let's put it that way, guys. But I don't think right now it will be significant. I think we'll have a little bit of spilling over the borders. So Russian military operations intensified in regions like Sumy and Kharkiv. There's significant troop movement reported there. So there have been reports of Ukrainian drone strikes targeting facilities within Russia, and that indicates potential expansion of the conflict zone. So I do think we're going to see that, but I think it's just going to be brief. I don't want to say not terrible because that's something you shouldn't say, but I think it's not going to be extended too far into other countries right now. Let's see what happens later. So, woof. So do we think that it is escalating? Feels like it's escalating. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I mean, we've got two men that are just not coming to the table together. They're just not doing it. I don't think I need to pull anything else on that. Certainly escalating. This is a situation that's going to happen. So we've got Zelensky on the right, Ukraine on the left, Russia on the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Anything goes, kids. Anything goes. We've got Four of Swords asleep because they need the money. They don't have the money. Two of Cups, not willing to put this on the side, not willing to let things go. Over here for Putin, we have Six of Cups. I'm not happy yet. I don't have my historical lands back. We've got the Seven of Cups. I want all this and more. This is a greedy cup, guys. And here, Ace of Wands. Gonna blow it all up. Blow it all up. So not a good look. Not a good look for any of this. Let's take those cards down and let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know how you feel this conflict is going. I know the energy on it has been ebbing and waning and ebbing and waning. At one point, we had Putin convinced that it needed to stop. At one point, we had Zelensky convinced it needed to stop. And now we've gotten Putin really backing up on that. And Trump is sick of everybody in the meantime. I have no idea where this is going to go. I think really Putin is going to put it in gear and he's going to try and keep those lands. Like I said, there's that one space that is out of his reach at this moment, and he wants to get that and obtain it. That is, if you were playing a game like Warhammer, like my husband plays, you would want to get that point, that objective. You would want to hit that point. And that is what Putin is heading for. I may look at a map later on and see what I think of that. But until then, let me know what you think. And I will see you guys on Thursday for Royals and Scandals. We'll be talking about the Diddy trial. I may do a bunch of short videos for you. So we'll be talking about the Diddy trial and what's going on there. See you in the future.